Welcome to the Beyond Press channel. Today we are doing more real work, and this time I'm going to do this voiceover recording thing because there was quite a lot of noise on our shop that day, and I'm going to service the big axle or rod thing that shafts those metal shavings to that part that I repaired on my previous real work with hydraulic press video. I link it on the description and comments and end screen. And the meaning of this part is to shaft those metal shavings to the hole about its size, and these are different materials, those shavings, and some of them are quite hard and some are not, but it's under quite heavy wear, and the tip of that, where I'm now welding that smaller axle to, it's hardened, and the whole thing is hardened, but the head of the thing still wears out quite fast, and I am going to change it now, and I'm going to use my press as a giant workbench, because I have to get that thing free, and it is glued with really hard Loctite, and it's also been hammering to that metal shavings with really big force, so it's usually quite tight. So first thing is to weld this axle to here, so I can hammer it free with giant hammer, and before hammering I want to also heat the thing up, because the glue is so hard that if I start hammering when it's cold and the glue is still intact, it won't come free. And because I'm going to hammer it really hard, I want to attach it really well to somewhere, and the press can hold it quite tight on its place. So I have about 50 bars, which is it about 20 tons of force keeping that thing at its place. And now I have the thing welded there, and I'm going to start the heating. I think the Loctite needs to be around 250 or something like that, with lose its strength, and then I'm able to hit it free. And I'm going to try always warm up the axle of the thing and not the head, because the structure is made that way that there is threaded hole on the axle and on the head also. And then I have made screws with my lathe that I screw first one side to the head and glue it there, and then head and the screw are going to screw it into the axle. And when I'm getting the thing free, I would like to keep the head and the screw intact to each other, so then I have the axle free of any screws after this. And sometimes it works and sometimes not. Usually if just the head comes loose, then I'm able to free the screw also, but sometimes when the head is free and the screw is still there, it's so tight that I have to take the whole thing to my lathe and drill that out. But it's quite rare thing, but still it's still very annoying if that happens. And this is first time when I'm doing this with my filming lights attached, so I forgot them, and my left side light got really hot when I was heating that from another direction, but it still works. But it was quite close to melting, so have to keep those in mind next time. And here is the hammering part. I forgot to turn the camera on, so I was hitting that already once, so it isn't that tough anymore. It took quite good hits to come free, but now it's spinning. But because there is that glue on the middle and other stuff, these are outside on our customer, so there's always some rust and stuff like that. So they are not spinning very well, and this is one of the easiest parts of these, how easy it's to turn. Usually you have to hammer the whole thing all the way, so it's really hard work to hammer that thing multiple turns. And as you can see now, the screw part stayed in the axle, and I was extremely worried that I'm going to have really bad day and I have to get the whole thing to my lathe and drill that out. But I decided to try with those giant things. I don't know what those are in English, but sometimes it comes loose with those, and this time it was really easy. I have no idea why it's spinning so easily this time. Maybe it's the fact that this axle is quite new and it hasn't been changed many times, so the thread is still in quite good condition, or then I have some grease left over to the hole before gluing the thing, but it's really easy this time. Usually this is much harder work. And after I got the screw out of the thing, I have to let it cool down. Usually I do this on next day because it's so large thing and it got quite good time to cool down. And then when it's cooled down, I remove the remaining glue and other shit from the hole using this threading tool. It spins quite easily because it's not going to like machine the actual metal off, just some glue debris and stuff like that. So it isn't very hard work, but I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's 1.5 inch thread, so it's quite good sized. And yeah, I make those screws myself with the manual lathe, and I'm going to do video about that probably one day. Threading with manual lathe is quite tricky task. It's not something that you are going to do first with the lathe. It needs some talent to use the handles. There is some tricky parts, and then measuring the thread with micrometer is also quite tricky. It's much harder than regular smooth objects, and you need to have some special measurements for that. Or then the easier way to measure is to try with your like counterpart. Is it going to spin there already, or do you need to take more stuff off? But when your parts are this large, it's not really suitable to try to spin these to place when your screw is in your lathe, so then you have to just measure the thing. But yeah, I learned it quite fast. You have to just be patient. And now when the hole is ready, I want to also get the head surface of the part free of any debris or glue or anything. So when I spin the new part in, it goes all the way in, because there has to be good connection between this and the head. Otherwise the force will transfer to that screw, and it's way too small for forces like this, so there has to be good connection between of those two. And now the parts are otherwise ready, but they need still some cleaning, and I use just regular brake cleaner and air pressured air to get any stuff free from there, like remainings of the glue after the threading tool or grease after threading tool, to be able to get good connection with the glue. And then I want to test that the part goes well in its place. If I add some glue there, and especially if they are still a bit warm, and I add the glue and turn that in and it doesn't go all the way, then there is good chance that it won't come out anymore if the glue like connects the pieces. So I try first without the glue, and it seems went really well in this time, and it still almost got stuck. And then it's time to add new glue. I put some into the hole and some into the screw thing, and I also put some on between of those surfaces, because they are going to be connected and the glue is acting on that surface as well as on that thread, so it helps to keep that thing on its place. They are using 800 tons, so there is a lot of force, so any help is good. And I think there has been few cases when it's come loose, if I remember correctly, but usually they are staying there really well. And then I'm going to attach my spinning tool. This is going to help to get good moment on screw when you are going to tighten it, and it holds there really well, but it still slips when I'm going to get the old part out, and that's why I'm welding those these days. You can see that the left side of like hitting thing is bent and otherwise is snapped, so I have been using this part quite much. And yeah, now it's going to be ready for spinning the part in. And now everything is tight and ready to be the part to be installed, and it goes in really well usually. The last parts are sometimes a bit hard because there is like a guiding surface on the end of the axle, and there is not that big gap between axle and the head. I think it's 0.1 millimeter, so sometimes it's like scrubbing against that if the thread on the screw isn't good enough. Now it was really exact and the thing went in really straight and no problems. And there I am hitting the thing to be tight. And yeah, you don't have to hit it as hard when you are tightening it than when you are getting the old part free. And yeah, now the thing is ready. I need to just get my tool away from the thing and put everything back into its place and continue on YouTube crushings. There has been a lot of real work lately on the press. But I'm going to do more of these real work videos. Now I have time to do like real work, and I really like to do some like physical thing and a bit more demanding work. For a while it's fun to do that also. I really like my new YouTube work, but real work is still also very fun, and I'm going to do some lathe and milling videos also quite soon. Yeah, but I think this is all for today. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.